Swami अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की जय। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर ब्रह्मानंद Glory to Sri Guru and Sri Gaura. Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter number 29 and text number 41. Etaihi Upadrutaha Nityam Jivalokaha स्वभावजैहि
स्वभावजैः
न करोति हरेः नूनं कथा अमृत निधौ रतिं एतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यम् जीवलोकः स्वभावजैः न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृतं निधौ रतिम् एतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यम् जीवलोकः स्वभावजैः न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृतं निधौ रतिम् एतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यम् जीवलोकः स्वभावजैः न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृतं निधौ रतिम्
एतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यम् जीवलोकः स्वभावजैः न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृत निधौ रतिम्
एतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यम्
जीवलोकः स्वभावजः
न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृतं निधौ रतिम्
एतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यम् जीवलोकः स्वभावजः न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृतं निधौ रतिम्
एतैः by these उपद्रुतः disturbed nityam always Jivalokah the conditioned soul in the material world Svabhavajai natural na karoti does not do Harehe of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Nunam certainly Katha of the words Amrita of nectar Nidhau in the ocean Ratim attachment Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because the conditioned soul is always disturbed by the bodily necessities of hunger and thirst, he has very little time to cultivate attachment to hearing the nectarian words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is associated with the devotees, he cannot cultivate Krishna consciousness. Nirjan Bhajan, cultivating Krishna consciousness in solitary place, is not possible for the neophyte, for he will be disturbed by the bodily necessities, eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Being so disturbed, one cannot cultivate Krishna consciousness. We therefore see that the devotees known as Sahajiya, who make everything very easy, do not associate with advanced devotees. Such persons, in the name of devotional service activities, are addicted to all kinds of sinful acts, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling and meat eating. There are many so-called devotees passing themselves off as devotees while engaging in these sinful activities. In other words, one who is influenced by sinful activity cannot accept as a person in Krishna consciousness. A person addicted to sinful life cannot develop Krishna consciousness, as indicated in this verse. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitanjena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Kitapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagrana Raghunatham Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagrana Lalita Shri Shakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Shri Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Etai Rupa Dato Nityam Jiva Loka Svabhavajayi Na Karoti Hare Nunam Kathamritam Nidhotakim. Because the conditioned soul is always disturbed by the bodily necessities such as hunger and thirst, he has very little time to cultivate attachment to hearing the nectarian words of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is so simple a fact, but it is so sublime to understand that what is meant by Durdaivam, Durdasha, means our position is very precarious because of this engagement in bodily necessities. It never develops or never, puts up any attraction to even developing that interest. Naishamatim tavat urukkamandri. We will never be able to develop attraction or even have an intelligence to go to hear the nectarian activities of Urukrama. Urukrama means one whose steps are very great, gigantic. They are so attractive but at the same time very inconceivable, so we easily give up. When we cannot run our brain, we said, who cares? Then we start interpreting. It may be allegorical, or it may be like fairy tales. What is this? But they do not understand the stumbling blocks of such understanding is right within their heart, so much deep down embedded that they have no iota even what to do. So they are not interested. Naishamatim tavat urukramangri sprashyati anarthopashamam yadartham. Even the subject matter of mati means intelligence towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead will never arise. It is not a subject matter that even a touch of divinity will ever come to him. Sprashyati, as long as anarthopashamam yadartham, for the purpose of our purification, that all the unwanted things must subside in the first place. If that does not happen, that subject matter of attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead will never arise, never touch. It will never come to his intelligence. Sprashyati, his intelligence will never dwell, never come into contact. Sprashati na yadartham upashamam anartham. Anarthamam upashamam sakshat. Bhakti adokshaje. Unless and until our anarthas are subsided, then and then the question of bhakti will arise. So, there's thirst, hunger, and always remain disturbed by them. And if we keep on constantly, engaged in those activities which are called the bodily conception of life, for them, the intelligence which is required to think about the transcendental activities which are nectarian will never come. Unless and until. Mahiyasam yadi pada rajobhisheka. If he somehow or another contacts under the association of great devotees and smear the dust of their lotus feet, nishkinchananam navrinita charat. They are nishkinchana. Nishkinchana means they have no attachment. They are so free that they do not have any discrimination between one soul to another. They are on the highest platform, that's why they are called Mahiyasam, they are great devotees. And when such non-political, non-partisan, pure spirit soul allows himself, the dust of his lotus feet to be taken by a person who is little bit somehow not drawn in his association, then and then the requisite intelligence will come. Otherwise, no way. Therefore, the role of the devotees is very important. One has to perfect the life, and those who have perfected, only they can give that transcendental touch in this way. This is the root cause that the faith is generated by association of the devotees. Adav Shraddha. It is first and foremost required. In the beginning, there should be faith. So, faith is only cultivated by association. So, here we see that this sense gratifiers, or those who are engaged in bodily conception of life only, they will, for them, the requisite intelligence of even thinking about the transcendental nature will never arise. It is also said, in the same line, Krishna teaches us in Bhagavad Gita that the occupation for the soul in its transcendental state is one, that is to serve the Supreme, and nothing else. And that intelligence also will not arise unless he becomes detached from the sense gratificatory activities. So, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya pratachetasa. Those who are engaged or engrossed in sense gratificatory activities of bhoga and aishwarya, sense gratification and opulence. They are very alluring. Those who are engaged in such activities, his consciousness is virtually stolen. Aprata means stolen. Means it can be also said that it's destroyed. Consciousness of bodily conception is there, but for hearing the transcendental message will never. So, for the eternal, for the Sat, for the absolute truth aspect, it will never come. Vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidiyate. Samadhava, however he will try to be intelligent in material ways, but it will never come to accept the supremacy of the Lord. Those who are thus engaged in sense gratificatory activities and opulence, for them the occupation of the soul and the resolute determination or intelligence will never arise. There are so many verses. Prahlad Maharaj even speaks, Matim na Krishna, Swatah Parato Va Mito Vipatyeta Grahavritana. The intelligence to Lord Shri Krishna will never arise. Those who are Grahavratas. Grahavratas means sense gratifiers again. Swatah, by his own endeavor. Paratah, with the help of others. Those who are similarly engrossed in sense gratifications. And the third, even they make a union and make a decision that yes, by our voting we will, tell who is the supreme. We will be all right simply by our common opinion. That's how the general populace think and tend to equate the demigods with the Supreme Personality of God. They think everybody is God. Forget. Because they have grahavratis. Adanta gobi vishatam tamishram punaha punascharvitam charmanama. Because their senses are unbridled. The bottom line. They are engaged in sense gratification, therefore they are not controlled. They end up chewing the chewed. Means they will not get any juice, never get any truth. I'm supposed to speak on the demigods also. And these are so solid instructions that people feel, threatened, insulted. They are so short-tempered that they think we are criticizing demigods. They think their worship is really reaching to the demigods. But we glorify the demigods and tell that Krishna tells those who worship the demigods are unintelligent, not the demigods are unintelligent. So we have to clarify. But it is because Matinda Krishna, they cannot develop the required intelligence to understand the absolute truth, which is transcendental in nature. On one side, we are told that this transcendental truth is very inconceivable. So, however intelligent you are, it is useless to contemplate on that. No, but we have to know that why it is so transcendental, why it is so inconceivable. And Rupa Goswami gives us a guideline to understand. So if we have an intelligence that those which are affected by the three modes of material nature, they are not transcendental. But this truth has nothing to do with the three modes of material nature. Therefore, it can act on a very superior level. It is beyond the three modes of material nature. So those who are obsessed by the desires of sense gratification and opulence, the required intelligence to discriminate between what is eternal and temporary will never arise. That intelligence is a must for a devotee. Devotee, by all logical argument, they are far superior than common men. Even devotees may not have realized, but because they are on the path of absolute truth, they are situated on the highest platform of ever possible material existence. Highest platform by any comparison of material existence. Srila Prabhupada had to face so many obstacles, but he was so confident and he would not be budged. We take so easy granted that, oh, we are alone, oh, why should I wear dhoti or this, pant will suffice, or this. Prabhupada said sari for the ladies and dhoti kurta for men. That's correct. A devotee must wear because it will remind of Krishna. Krishna doesn't wear pant and shirt. 2.5 years back, they tried to put Krishna on a jeans and a shirt with goggles and gave him the mobile phone in Vrindavan. Yes. And they were criticized. The pujari was sacked. Hey, it went as an uproar because they don't understand. So Srila Prabhupada was facing in the beginning this kind of problem. But the devotees, even though they were not familiar with dhoti kurta, Prabhupada told them that this is a sin. And at that time in New York, there were no dhoti kurta available outside. There were no Indian shops even. Whatever Srila Prabhupada may get, shipment, that's about it. So, the devotees were intelligent. Even though they did not have dhoti kurta, they would wrap around them bed sheets and go out on the street and Harinam. Of course, that was looking awkward, but doesn't matter. It's dhoti kurta. They didn't have even tulsi beads. So Prabhupada told them, go in the curio shop and get the beads, which are for decorations. You string yourself the beads. And they were stringing. See the devotion. So, when they were chanting on the streets of New York, and people were onlooking them, and they were surprised, but they ignored in the beginning. Prabhupada told, first they will ignore you, then they will laugh at you, then you are still carrying on this activity of Harinam Sankirtan, then they will try to disturb you, and then they will prosecute you. Prabhupada told so openly. But these devotees were confident, even though they look weird. And they were shouting Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the top of their lungs on the streets and playing the drums. They do not know how to beat up the drums. Still they were doing it. They were not expert in playing drums even. They're banging. So somehow one of the devotee had courage because it was a little difficult. He was sensitive and he said, Prabhupada, we go like this and people are, laughing at us, criticizing this. And Prabhupada said, yes, they are so foolish they do not know. The most intelligent people are dancing on the streets. Prabhupada told them. It's a courage to go. We are going on Harinam today, right? Good. But it is very important to understand that simply by the mercy of a pure devotee, how the faith is generating. So, Matim na Krishna, Parato Sutova. So, those who do not know that their ultimate selfishness, real selfishness is Vishnu, what they will do? Nate vidu swathagati Vishnu durashaya bahirartha. They will be so hopeless and miserly that they will look for somewhere else, outside Krishna. And they lead a blind life, guided by another blind, and they all fall in the ditch of repeated birth and death. They have no iota of eternity, even though they are eternal soul, but miserly as they are, they want to enjoy right here and all of it, never to be satiated. Never to be satisfied. Some people understand, but I will have at least this much enough, I will be satisfied. But no will be allowing him to get satisfied. It's a vicious chain of reaction that he does not know. If you become a millionaire, the government is after you. Everybody is after you. You have to engage your money in investment schemes. You can't keep it floating, otherwise people will steal. That's how the investment started. Means other authorized people can steal your money by investing. So in this way, they end up making more to cover and support others, and he will never be free from it. So 1 million is not enough. Not enough. Never. So they are always disturbed by the hunger and thirst, means of all kinds. And they never take to the path of hearing the transcendental glories of the Supreme Personality. There are others also. That those who are so deep down sunk into the ignorance, like a butcher, he will not be able to chant the glorification of the Lord. Actually, this glorification of the Lord is the only medicine that has been to be taken from the ear. And it will give solace to the heart. Manobhiramat. Bhavaushadi Chhotra Manobhirama. Shrotra means ears, but Bhavaushadi, the holy name is called Bhavaushadi. Shrotra Manobhiramat ka uttama sloka gunanuvada. There is uttama slok, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always sung in the choicest poetry. This Gunanuvad means the description of the transcendental qualities and activities of Him. Who will not be able to chant? Puman virajita bina pashugna. All people but a pashugna means a killer of the soul. He will not be able to glorify. So deep down ignorance, which is also caused by nefarious activities of killing a butcher. A butcher does not live or die because he is existing in front of death all the time. Neither he lives nor he dies. He is a ghost. A ghost cannot express his desires and takes up an active role. Cannot. He is in a hanging state, suspended state. He cannot alone enter, in anybody's body, unless one is a very weakly mentally. He can possess, but otherwise no. If somebody is a weak person, means one's mind is distorted totally, cannot think for one's own self. Even little selfishness, then such hanging spirit can take over. But most of the normal people, they do have the strength to keep away. Because at least positive desires, when we are with positive desires, there's no problem. Nothing can hurt us. But if the desires are not fulfilled and we remain only negative, then somebody can take over. Suppose too much depression, hopelessness, and other things arise. Then how come this state is prolonging so much? We look like zombies. Because those desires are not satisfied and we are still attached with it. So we can't take a positive action either to fulfill the desire and we has apathy all around us. So in this way, a subtle body, hanging suspended body can easily take over. So sometimes multiple personality syndrome comes in a person that looks like normal but not acting normal. Or, when one is in association with the stronger, people, he acts differently, and as soon as one is alone, acts differently. So there are multiple personality syndromes of that kind. This is all psychology, parapsychology, and other situations are there. But if we are in association with positive desires and directing to Supreme Personality of God and His talks, His attributes, if we are given a chance to cultivate, rest assured, nothing can disturb us. Actually, transcendental nature is superior nature than the last tamasic mode, the mode of ignorance. So, a butcher exists, the total mode of existence, mode of ignorance. So, he cannot glorify the holy name. We can't anticipate him to glorify the holy name. There might be some exceptions. Sometimes we hear the stories. I read a story that in Hong Kong, the butchers were bringing one bull to slaughterhouse. But they heard the bull crying like a human being and telling them not to take. Please, please, he was. And however they tried, but he would not budge. And he would profusely cry like a human being. So it melted the heart of the butchers. And we just said, wow, it looks like a human being, but I think we should spare him. So they went around and raised some fund to keep his life and keep him safe somewhere. So it's like that. And some stories, who knows validity of anything, but it circulated in his home. Like that. Anyway, so Rati is akarshan. Rati means attraction to them. We were talking yesterday also, the attraction takes us to bhakti. First should be faith, then attraction, and then bhakti will. Satam prasanga mamavi samvida bhavanti ratkarna rasayana katha tajjoshana vapavarga vartamani shraddha rati bhakti anukramashyati. Anukramashyati means one after another. It's a sequence. First, it generates pertinent faith to understand the transcendental nature. Only the association of the pure devotees. That was Kapil Deva. He is telling the devotee that in the association of pure devotees, the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be observed, you will receive, because through the transcendental topics which are going to be discussed, they are full of such strength. Virya means they are glorious, but the real strength is there. So we obtain this transcendental strength in association with the devotees only. There is no outside comparative, where the transcendental topics are not discussed. We should not go there. So, Tajjoshanavam apavarga vartamani, the path of liberation will be open. And requisite faith, attraction, and bhakti will develop in progression. So, what is Rati? In perverted understanding, Rati is called, Rati is the wife of Kamadev. In perverted form, in material, like Kamadev's wife is named Rati. Kamadev means the Cupid. There are two forms of Cupid. Original Cupid in the transcendental nature is Krishna, and Brahma was inducted into initiation by Kamadev. But in material nature, Kamadev is supposed to be the demigod of sex life. Even demigods evoke by trick this Kamadev. So Lord Shiva and Parvati did Kartikeya. But Kartikeya is the embodiment of moral passion. And demigods required that because he will become the commander-in-chief of the army. They did not. Lord Shiva objected to this treacherous plan. But he was victimized. He counteracted by burning the Kamadev. He burnt him to ashes by opening his third eye. The third eye is transcendental eye. Means the Lord Shiva by opening the third eye, means the eyes of transcendental knowledge, he diminished the effect. So simultaneously, Lord Shiva satisfied the need of the demigod. Kartikeya was born, but he was still brahmachari. The effect of sex life can be only mitigated by the eyes of transcendental knowledge. And this Kamdev, his wife's name is Rati. So anybody, any materialistic person, simply is attracted by the feminine nature of sex life when it is that way presented. The Vedic dress was to prevent a false attraction either to masculine or feminine gender, in order to protect, cover. Even Radharani, we can't show her feet, but to speak of other dressings, we have to be very, very careful. We can't put whimsical dressing. The perfection in chastity should be always observed. Srila Prabhupada would not tolerate anybody dressing other way. And we saw the example of Lord Krishna, dressed in jeans and this. So, no. One time, we know, Kirtananda Swami at that time, wanted to dress Krishna in tuxedo. Black tuxedo. I wanted to open. But there was big uproar, lot of resistance. Similarly, when he put crown on Srila Prabhupada and dressed him as king, you can't relate the transcendental nature. So there are some whimsical ideas which are not tradition, but tradition is to protect the chastity in every aspect. And even now, so many experiments they were undertaken to do like this. So naturally, it came out as a separate institution which is not following Srila Prabhupada, and that was highly criticized. And even once they were separated. So the idea is that we have to be very, very careful in understanding this false attraction and allurement. But the true attraction, the transcendental attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only through the transcendental narration, not otherwise. Lord Krishna, Krishna Katham, Kathamritam Nidho. Story is not only containing within a book form, because it gives a devotee the immense realization. So the realized knowledge is very unfathomable, awesome. And every living entity, if thus trained, can realize in their own respective relationship with the Lord. So, what kind of attraction is that? What kind of attraction is there? Rati. The same word is there. But this is called transcendental attraction. A soul is attracted in true knowledge, and soul is attracted in ignorance. So, these are the same, similar type of words, slokas that come often in order to keep on establishing with firmness the process right from foundation. We are revisiting so many verses like that. And the description will be there. Again, the same principle will be revisited in order to foster the platform of bhakti. This is the foundation. So anybody has any question?
The Western world is very interested and centered often around the attraction between two partners. So how does a devotee be discerning on that?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, far west you go, people are more degraded. They are degraded in false attraction. Right? Degraded through false attraction. But can you imagine what kind of powerful personality Srila Prabhupada was in such a humble state of his presentation? What a profoundness that he was able to attract. It's not coincidental. Generally, people of Mayavad say, oh, he was present at the right time when the right necessity was there and right. Come on. It's not coincidental. Transcendental topics are not matters of coincidences. They are planned, pre-planned, and they are told by transcendental personalities only. So you refer Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they all forecasted. And they are recorded. Do you think it is less important than a so-called triviality and logical thing? This is not logic, right time, right plan. There were so many wrongs were going on. Why none of the reasons were applied there? And why only one particular place? Huh? And many attempts were happening other places too. But it did not materialize. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj sent two in the West. Prabhupada's senior god brothers. Bon Maharaj and another was Vilas Maharaj. They went to, one went to Berlin in Germany and another went to London. But both have problems. Actually, they adopted their dress. And something reverse happened. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj had to send money from India to Europe so they can survive there and preach. They can generate even money. Such spiritual thing, it is very inconceivable. They were looking like gentlemen, go in tie and suit and everything was there. They themselves had a... And Prabhupada, when he came to New York, and he was also suggested to change his dress, but Prabhupada said, no. I have come here to give them something, not take anything from them. So, the inconceivable power that can give the impact in the uncivilized life of so-called civilization, of Sanskrit education. Powerful, impact of spiritual nature was there. And that was conveyed by Srila Prabhupada. Why he chose USA and New York especially? Because the two major cities in the Europe, couldn't do anything. Something is only great in the name, that the real greatness is by the humility. And Srila Prabhupada exhibited that. But Krishna favored So we see the attraction even to the those who are exposed to the maximum sense gratification. The power of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare was attracted to the people. It is the mercy of Lord Krishna. The hippies easily took up. And such hippies like Timothy Leary and what's the other one?
Ginsberg.
Yeah, Allen Ginsberg. They came in association of Srila Prabhupada. They helped Prabhupada promote Hare Krishna Mahamantra elsewhere, even though they themselves did not take seriously. But they must have been benefited, no doubt. For such a Gyat Sukruti, they will be favored to get another secure birth in, so they can progress in spiritual life. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, far west you go, more degraded people will go. Paschimere desh mudha anachar. Anachar. Vyabhichari. Those who do not know how to act. They act uncivilized. In any situation, Hare Krishna mantra works. That is the conviction. It's not just try. No, it will work.
Sometimes Prabhupada very strongly criticised the activities of Sahajas, but I think at some point he also said that even still that they're chanting Hare Krishna, they're still focusing on Krishna, they make some sort of advancement. Is that correct?
But it will take a long time. Generally, Sahajiyas, they wanted to imitate spontaneous devotional service. Haridas Thakur says that after many, many yugas, they may achieve to sthayi bhava. Yeah. So they are a kind of devotee, but generally we consider them in a neophyte state. Unless and until one is purified senses, Sahajiyas don't care.
So when here, this purport in Prabhupada's making comment that, because with the idea that we want to take, Sahaja wants to take something cheaply, but it also seems to be, because of ego, we want to exhibit as more on a spontaneous platform, or maybe we get caught with following regular principles or something, but it's there in our heart, isn't it, that tendency to...
Yeah, in every life, he will be bombarded with the thirst and hunger, the need of sense gratification. So, unless and until the soul becomes realized that now let me try this way is not working. Or even the soul's desire can only be quenched in its purest form of interaction. And in Sahajiya, there's always some kind of, disturbance. Just like Sahajiyas may be eating sweet rice mixed with sand. Means they must be disturbed every time. The taste is sweetness, but it cannot be realized because the sand is coming. To remove the sand particles, he has to work. How long he will keep on eating sand? One who does not discriminate, say like lower animals such as pigs and others, they can eat anything mixed with dirt. So it's their gross ignorance. So even in the subject matter of the transcendental nature, if they are taking the name, holy name, but along with so many material conception, they are mixing transcendental nature and material nature together. But again, the taste will not be the same. It is a disturbance there. So generally, you want to avoid the Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatriki Vidimina Aikantiki Harerpati Utpatayat Kalpate. It will definitely create disturbance in the society, the Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas, and there are examples in the history. How come Nityananda Nagaris became defunct? Sikhi Beki in Advaita Sampradaya. Even in Vallabha Sampradaya, the Haveli people, if you know, anybody knows, they are mainly located in Gujarat and Mumbai. They cultivated some abominable practices of rati. The first and foremost, when a girl is married, she is first offered to the priest instead of the husband. And that became a very disturbing practice. So they were highly criticized. but it goes in the name of devotion. So, anyway, Sahajiyas, they can't make any impact in the impious lives. Rather, they aid to the impious lives.
Just the idea that we can have that subtle influence of Sahaja in our own heart and tend to seek out, because we think we're more advanced than what we are or whatever, seek out some higher literature to focus on and how to balance that with...
That the association of pure devotee, that's why I required full protection against such outflow. We may not be able to control our flow, but somebody else will be helping us to control, correct us from time to time.
Because once recently in the Sunday Feast class, it was just brought up for discussion, somebody said, well, we hear on one side we have to hear topics of Krishna, and on the other side we have to be very careful to avoid just focusing on these topics and going through it very carefully before we get to 10th canto. So it brought that.
No, it does. Our progress is a natural progression, not jumping over. Suppose somebody wants to hear about, all right, let me give you, it happened day before yesterday, in the morning somebody came, do something in terms of Rasalila. Forget it. That's it. One wants to put up the highest place of project, to promote some. But I said, there are so many other leaders, why don't you think so? And he was convinced. So like that, it's important. We want to do so many things, but can you imitate Rasi?
Well, we want to hear, and there's so much literature now that's coming available within ISKCON.
That's good.
That has very, it's more like Raganuga Bhakti platform.
Yeah.
Which is part of
That's
the
good. But
tradition anyway.
right. Unless and until one has proper mindset. We had discussion, Shivaram Maharaj brought out a few books, and I specifically asked, I have the books but I never read. I'm afraid to enter into such subject matter. But it doesn't mean that one should not try. One may be wrong, but nobody is discussing on it. Neither anybody is applauding such effort. Neither Shivaram Maharaj talks anything about that in public class or anything.
But all his disciples got and we all bought when they came out.
Yeah.
It's all three of them.
That's correct. But it's nice at times, but we reserve the right to dwell into or not. And I keep in my library, and nobody opens because it's it's a very sensitive subject matter. Right? And I think he might have enough, courage and protection. So he took the liberty. But I don't think his disciples also propagating such ideas or anything, or acting in any way.
They are all based on the Acharya's purports to those 10th canto, aren't they?
Yeah, but in Hungary, they are going to square one, ground bottom, platform, start from, Varnashram system. Is one to come and put up the proposal on a very practical side, nothing touching about the lofty ideals of the transcendental wills. He made the GBC to spend 10% of their quantitative time in agriculture.
That was this last meeting, yeah. So that's across the board for all the sannyasis.
Yeah, but he knows, he's aware, and he, so nothing can be, if even though such literature is there, but we cannot. So 3 years back, there was a question by the chairman of the GBC on behalf of all about the progressive aspect of devotional service, and Shivaram Maharaj was given a task as president, that what should we meditate while we chant Hare Krishna? Should we meditate on Krishna, his pastimes, or what? But he very cleverly put up a slideshow and very nicely explained that it's according to the stages. And as far as Rati, the aspect came in the Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then one who is just a beginner, who is not a steady chanter, he should meditate only sound vibration all over. But one who is initiated, he is committed to chant 16 rounds minimum, he should also be advised to meditate on the sound vibration. But those who have, the steady chanters who have eradicated anarthas and came to the platform of Rati, Nishtha, then he can meditate on Krishna's form, then qualities and pastimes. But Srila Prabhupada warned and he showed, that unless and until one has eradicated the Radaroga Kama Apahanoti, the disease of the heart, which is Kama, material lust from his heart, he should not enter into the Leela aspect.
So that's also Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about in Srila Bhajan Rahasya.
Yes, that is the same thing. Because that is told by Sukadeva Goswami in 10th canto itself. Unless and until Radaroga Kama Apahanoti is not there, it is none of anybody's business to enter into such topics.
Is this, was the PowerPoint presentation available for the rest of us to
That's correct.
access?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it's enough.
Yeah. I have it in my computer. But it's a very nice presentation.
It's nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada's quotes are there. I have used several times.
Tomorrow night.
Do you have a projector here? LCD projector?
We have a big monitor, computer monitor we can put in.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
So even tonight we can do that in the
Yeah.
class.
Sunday feast or
Yeah.
or Bhakti Vriksha class?
Bhakti Vriksha will be better.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
let's
so
see.
better than Sunday feast class.
I have a projector.
So we can do Bhakti
We
Vriksha.
should have projector.
You have nothing? But you need, so
But I don't have a computer.
No, but we have the computer, and if we can connect it, that's fine. We need to test it out. Otherwise, we have got this big monitor, computer monitor. We can
Yeah, that's done.
yeah, it was very nice.
Maharaj, and those states are manifested naturally, you don't have to force them. And those states of channeling, how to meditate on them, is manifested naturally, or you don't have to force them?
Yeah, it should develop naturally. It's a progressive. The energy is from transcendental sources. And energy is very dynamic. It is not stationary. Energy gives you push, isn't it? But let transcendental energy push you, not material energy. So our desires are purified, then transcendental energy will push us. If our desires are contaminated by material energy, then material desires will push us to make an effort. The process is the same. In either aspect, the process is the same. All the 9 steps in perfection to achieve, even in material life, these 9 processes are there. It's a natural progression. So, the spiritual life is, we will discuss those things today. Very natural, nothing artificial. So one wants to make a little hasty step, might be pushing his own desires. No doubt. But we have to maintain a respectful situation in such a case. And on one behalf we are told that this is such a territory, even the angels fear to tread in. How can we jump it? Right? The 10th canto is the face of the Lord. You can't approach that without going through the lotus feet. Right? I told that, but yet Srila Prabhupada gave the summary study of the 10th canto, Krishna trilogy. But in a very well protected. But to cultivate the meditation, one has to look into the deep mood that Sukadeva Swami has been describing in the Ras Panchadhyayani and other. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu already told that if you want to, worship in the mood of gopis. But do you have to go directly because it's such an order? No. We are supposed to be Rupanugas. Rupanuga means go through Vaidhi Bhakti, which includes after Rati, Asakti, Bhav and Prem are supposed to be cold, spontaneous portion of the Vaidhi Bhakti. Vidhi means method. Very methodical devotional service, not whimsical. Generally those who are sahajas, they go, oh well, they immediately, instantly get stand and start acting and, asakti bhav. But it's so temporarily lived that he makes a fool out of himself by controversial behaviors. We have to control these sahajiya tendencies. Some people simply cry for nothing. Even these bhavas are coming for other devatas also. Can you imagine? And those are not devatas, they are man-made bhagavans, they also get for them. So where will you draw the line? Where will you draw the line? All the Sahajiya bhavs, and those who do not believe, they also get it. Anybody, an atheist also can get it. It's such a hodgepodge. In Hinduism, anything goes. So we were talking that in ISKCON also anything goes. Huh? And Prabhupada gave us protection.
Maharaj, the practice of the process of Krishna consciousness process, and for the practitioner, sometimes it's easier to follow the rules and regulations in a gross way. It's easier, but for the subtle aspect, the sensitification in the subtle waterfall, we are not aware that they are like an artist. So how we can be aware, using aware, analyze, self-analyze, right?
Well, when you become awakened by the holy name, you are not going to sleep again. You will not be able to sleep again. The holy name is after you because you have allowed the holy name to act upon us. It is inconceivably cleansing us. Inconceivably. We may not be able to understand that, I was in such a condition before 10 years back, and see, but never be content to that. Otherwise, again, false trap of Maya will dictate you. So therefore, our surrenderedness through humility is very important to cultivate simultaneously to be protected. It is very inconceivable that so we don't calculate or measure or artificially try to understand and explain that we think this way, that way. No. When the modes are gone, it's the effect of transcendental. And that's what Bhagavatam says, so we can quote only that this happens. Tada rajastamo bhava kamarupadasya chetayate anaditam sthitam sattve prasiddhati. We will be situated in mode of goodness all the time. We will be at peace, but devotional service should be continued, can't be content. People who try to put up a limit because they are harboring other desires, so they don't want to be taken over by the holy name. No. It means half-cooked, situation will be there. If we are getting cooked up, that cooked up. Get fried totally. The fire of devotional service, let it consume all our material conceptions like that. It's ever progressive. At least you know that you are in the right direction. Isn't it?
The reason we are here.
Yes, you have to. That's why one has accepted the Guru. So, good. All right. Prabhupada ki
Jai.